Hello all, I hope you're doing well. And we are continuing with our weekly portion review, and this is the portion of Noah. Noah, famous for the flood of Noah and the story of the Tower of Babel. Continuing with the theme we were talking about last week with Adam and the snake, I want to use that to frame some of the discussion around Noah. And we'll just do a little recap where the Torah really it presents the story of creation and the flood. They're both, again, like an inner map in that sense to the whole human condition. So like we said last week, that inside each human there's these two centers, right? There's the soul and there's nature. And from the soul, right, a person is learning that he's an individual, he's capable of choice, and he has freedom, and which includes moral responsibility, and the ability really to rise above the instinct. And in nature, we're learning that I'm part of a universal system, and I'm subject to laws that are beyond my control, and I'm really part of this rhythm of creation. And these two poles we spoke about that they're symbolized by Adam and the serpent, right? The Nachash. And Adam represents the divine consciousness inside man. I have this awareness of a higher purpose, of self-transcendence. And the serpent ultimately is my natural consciousness, right? That it pulls me towards instinct, towards pleasure, and really, I want that immediate desire right away. And when the serpent dominates, right, then our moral order then collapses, right? We have to be in this proper orientation always. And then the human really becomes enslaved to his impulses. Now, how does this relate to Noah and the flood? Now, in the story of the flood, we're not only talking about this tale of this external destruction, right, of the physical flood, but it also is reflecting on what actually happens when the serpent overcomes the Adam within humanity, right? So when society becomes fully corrupt, as the story starts, right, that we see God is looking down and he sees his corruption, the divine image of Hashem is really being drowned out by the tohu, right, by the chaos of these waters, and really of instinct, right? We're just following our instinct at this point. Noah then, whose name also means to rest or to have ease, is really representing this inner part of man, which is remaining true and pure. And even when the rest of the world around him, or the rest of the psyche around him is overwhelmed, there's still an inkling of something that is trying to connect to his divine self. And in his quiet center, the Noah within the storm, that's really what's preserving this holiness. So then Noah enters the teva, the ark, right? And the Torah tells us that it was 300 cubits. That was its length. Now, if you're looking at, there's different ways of interpreting letters, and within these ciphers, we could see that the name also of the Tetragrammaton, right, in Hebrew, that name also connects to the 300 cubits as well with regards to that translation. So we're seeing over here that this is alluding to the idea that Noah encloses himself within the divine name itself. He's protecting himself in this dimension of holiness that's sheltering him from the chaos that's happening outside. The Zohar also notes this, that the word Noach in Hebrew, nun chet, is when you're joined with the letter shin, turns into nachash, to the serpent. Right? So Noah's mission in that sense is to redeem and transform the primordial serpent and to subdue its instinctual drives, right? And he wants to try to integrate them into proper holiness. And then when Noah actually emerges from the ark, the first thing he does is plant a vineyard. And this is not a coincidence. Like we spoke about last week, according to the Midrash, the tree of knowledge, right? Some see it as a grapevine. Right, so by planting the vineyard anew, Noah is attempting to repair the original sin. But we notice he acts differently than what Adam did. And instead of eating from the fruit immediately, he actually allows for the proper order. He allows time for the grapes to ferment, to turn into wine, right? He's then symbolizing the patience, the process, and being more mature into desiring things through the divine timing, and not just because I want them right away. And then wine, in that sense, becomes a symbol of the rectified pleasure, right? When man actually learns to delay gratification until it aligns with the divine will. But even here, unfortunately, the human story ultimately repeats itself, right? Noah gets into this divine state, uncovers himself inside the tent, right? By doing so, he's actually returning to, well, in mystical terms, he's returning to the state of innocence before shame, right? Before Adam and Eve realized that they were naked, before the fall, right? But humanity is still not ready for this yet because his son, Ham, right, misuses his visions of nakedness. He doesn't realize that this means that this is this pure level of exposure. Rather, he's still looking at it from like this natural point of view. And because of that, we fall again. And so the final tikkun, or the rectification, right, of the serpent is postponed really to the end of days, right, when hopefully humanity will realize how to harmonize our soul and our nature together and overcome this serpent. Now, this, of course, relates to our days today, where the serpent has risen again, right? We see these dark forces of hatred and cruelty that are trying to bring down the image of God. And like Noah, right, the people of Israel had to go into their own ark, into their own teva, but one that's made out of unity, ideally, and courage and faith. And within this storm of war, right, the flood of war, we actually discovered something eternal, that a hidden holiness actually that no enemy could destroy from us, right? It's these soldiers, it's these families, it's these communities that ultimately became these vessels of light, right? And when the Zohar reminds us that Noah, right, and Nachash and the snake share the same letters, it's not telling us to defeat evil, but to transform it, right? We need to take pain and turn it into compassion, and we need to take destruction and turn it into renewal. And by doing that, we're hopefully going to be able to plant this vineyard again. And already in Israel, people are building. Life is starting again. And we hope that from these ashes of war, we're going to grow a wine that's actually for life, for wisdom, and for peace ultimately. I wish us all a Shabbat Shalom. Take care.